skills.
Problem. Okay, let's go.
What I say? Okay, no, okay. You can continue.
Okay. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, Australian High Commission supports construction of safe home, and this is a safe home called Pell Safe Haven. It's a charity organization for the construction of a safe home for female survivors of gender-based violence in the country. The Australian High Commission has given 197,366 cedis, but they're looking for $400,000. So if you're interested, it's on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Also, Kintampo Police rescue abandoned day-old baby. Front page of the Daily Graphic. Jospon clears the air. GES revises syllabi of basic and SHSs. Also, Bempire reconciles with Chief Imam. Dadbon roadmap faces danger. 1 dead, 3 injured in clashes.
I need to start, right?
Yes. No, before you start,
Okay.
Raymond, Jospon has responded to this publication concerning government's cancellation of the contract. Anyway, you have those details.
Yes, they've been speaking, and the management of Jospon has been speaking, and they said that this is what happened. It's not that the contract was terminated for non-performance; it's elapsed, and so the communication by the Ministry of Local Government was merely an official notification of an elapsed contract, as opposed to a termination for non-performance. They also pointed out the fact that there was a pre-financing and credit sale contract, and at some point the government indicated that it was financially constrained and therefore might not be able to provide the needed funds to execute the contract, and so therefore they allowed the time to pass because they thought there might be issues with the financing of the contract.
So that's Jospon's response.
Yes, that's Jospon's response.
Raymond, let's begin.
Yes, now I was going to talk about some proverb in my hometown, which stipulates that with the order we know is that our mother has given birth and we have siblings. Anyway, but now the top story is reported this morning that the finder that court has cleared the SEC to probe Men's Gold. You know that Men's Gold went to court. Men's Gold was of the opinion that the SEC and other state institutions were really making it suffer. It was actually issuing statements and notices that was affecting this business, putting it in bad light, and also they didn't have the right to do the things they said they want to do. All of these came to a knot as the court yesterday said there were specific procedures that they should have pursued before they went to court. And Men's Good at least should have exhausted some internal mechanisms. The BOG and SEC contended that Men's Good did not exhaust all of these regulatory mechanisms for redress before going to court. You know that the SEC we are told, it says it's now cleared to go ahead and pursue Men's Good and do the things that I wanted to do prior to. We know that the SEC wrote to Men's Gold for some detail. It asked us to suspend its operations. Then the operations were suspended some way, somehow, after a long discussion as to whether or not the SEC could order that. The Men's Gold went to court in September last year. And that court was to prevent the SEC from further doing anything with Men's Gold in this case. You know, some have complained that why didn't you just shut down the operations of the institution completely within the space that you sought to intervene and make sure you knew that there was something wrong there. But the SEC had said that they needed some information, specific documentation, which they needed to operate on. Now, as we are told, the way has been clear for SEC to act on Men's Gold. What some say is somewhat too late now because we've seen what the state of Men's Gold has been. But it doesn't look like for Men's Gold and this operative, the institution has completely collapsed. Yesterday you heard, and it was confusing to me, but you heard the person who speaks for Men's Gold currently. And
Yes.
the gentleman was, even though we know that as of December 20, all the staff had been asked to go home. So I was taking with a pinch of salt the person who was purported to speak for the company. But previously, he spoke for the company. He is saying that as we are asking Interpol and other countries to help us trace Nana Pia Mensah, Nana Pia Mensah is looking for money to come and pay Men's Gold
He's
customers.
working to get the money to come and pay the Men's Gold customers. He's out of the country working.
Yeah.
Get money to come and pay.
I wonder if it's in one of these 194 countries
Yeah.
where he's been declared
I'm just
wanted.
wondering if it will be outside one of those countries because it will be difficult to raise money in other countries.
And of course,
like
he
that,
stopped
yeah.
short of naming which exact country.
Yeah,
that
and
he's
that's one point that I also felt was very disappointing. I mean, if you wanted, and it's the responsibility of a Ghanaian to cooperate with law enforcement agencies to help us get to the bottom of this matter. He is Ghanaian like any other person. It is in his interest, if there's nothing wrong with the operations of Men's Gold as we see it and we have known it today, to have cooperated and said, oh, we know it's in the US. In fact, in times past, some people have said, no, don't look for me. I'm here. I will
Kwesi
come back.
Nyansi-
Yes, I'll come
Nyansi
back to the
did.
country on these dates so that we can deal with the matter substantively. So we would have expected that he would give us that detail from them, but nothing of that sort happened. We know that there's a warrant for his arrest. There's also what we've been told that he had jumped bail of the BNI along the line. And one of the things, beyond the defrauding by false pretense, which could land the man in jail for between 10 to 25 years, he's also being pursued for money laundering, at least according to the CID boss. And much of what we are being told so far is that the Men's Gold customers, according to the Ministry of Information statement, the Men's Gold customers have no rebate from government. So government is not going to use taxpayers' funds. I don't know if they can use private pension funds, but so far as we are concerned, government's not going to use taxpayers' funds to pay Men's Gold customers a personal. Yesterday, the Information Ministry issued a long statement explaining. I think that the part that's the longest of all the statements is the one that
is the one that they
about,
were responding to the NDC.
Yes, the one that says
Okay.
that the president has a wonderful relationship with.
He said that the president did not have a one-on-one meeting
Yes,
with
yes,
them,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
that Mr. Nanapia Mensah visited the president with a GFA delegation
Good.
that was accompanying Mr. Ahmad Ahmad, the current president of CAF. He went with Mr. Nyantechi and Mr. Ahmad Ahmad. During that meeting, he greeted Nana Appiah Mensah, and he's saying that that tweet that said that, oh, he told him about a success story and whatever, that
Okay.
is going on social media. That tweet was fabricated.
Okay, so it's fake, right? We should
That's what the
disregard that.
statement says.
So in this case, it's like 14 on one meeting.
Yes, so it's not a
Yeah,
one-on-one
one-on-one.
meeting. It's like a 14-man delegation. I'm more concerned really about what they said about how governments did all they could. They issued warnings, and the various institutions and the government issued
Yes.
warnings. I'm going back to the notice to suspend trading without license. This letter that the SEC wrote.
Yeah.
To Men's Gold on 7 September 2018. It says that the SEC is a statutory establishment under Section 3 of the Securities Industry Act, has the mandate to maintain surveillance over activities in securities to ensure orderly, fair, equitable dealings in securities, and to register, license, authorize, or regulate market operations in accordance with Act 929. Now, Section 1232 of Act 929, Raymond, is a very, very interesting part that you must read. Yes, and it states clearly, I'm going to find this right now and I'm going to read it for you. It states clearly that the Securities Exchange Commission 1232 says, where the commission is satisfied that a person has obtained monies without a license or contrary to the terms of the license of the person, the commission shall in writing instruct that person to repay all monies obtained and the profits according to that person, return assets acquired as a result of the illegally obtained monies or deposits, or pay any interest or other amounts which may be owed by that person in respect of those monies to the respective persons from whom the monies were obtained. So it seems like the SEC has a lot of work to do.
It had a lot of work to do prior to now. Many believe that actually now it's almost close to being too
Because
late.
this law states clearly,
Hopefully-
and we didn't write the law, really.
Hopefully, if the FIC is able to freeze the account, whether they're empty or
Which
have
they
something-
should have done a long time ago,
Yes.
when the SEC asked them to stop trading on the 7th of September 2018.
That would have
So
been
from the
perfect time
7th
for
of
it.
September
Yes.
2018 to now, why wasn't this law enforced? 1232 of the Securities Industries Act. That's the question now.
That
but
the
of course,
SEC to be answered, because
Yes.
really, if that was done, at least we have had enough money to pay some of these guys, so that all of these brouhaha surrounding this man would have been lowered. If not
there's a
lowered.
lot. There's a lot more within that space that we have been able to uncover. We'll be telling listeners later on in the show. But anymore, let's move on.
Yes, so ECG is ready for the takeover. We know that PDS, incorporated in Ghana by a consortium, Meralco, is going to be that's going to be taking over ECG, and this takes effect on February the 1st. The Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Development Authority, Mr. Martin Eson Benjamin, was talking about this yesterday. Now, he said that by the 1st of February this year, the transfer from ECG to Power Distribution Services must take place, and it's gone through all the necessary processes. The documents have been signed, it's gone through Parliament, and so they're ready to take over. Now, we know that Meralco is the largest private sector electricity distribution company in the Philippines, and they're coming in mainly to focus on two things: infrastructural updates and revenue collections. Now what they're going to do really is that some of the things that they're going to do is build 4 primary substations. They're also going to deal with the ECG wires crisscrossing, which is causing a lot of losses. They're going to pump $500 million into the electricity system to try and get us up there and working well. They're going to be changing meters and monitoring current meters as well. So they're taking over from the 1st of February. They have also said that there will be no job losses, especially for those who are already employed, the Ghanaians. So there should be no.
But
no
another thing they're
that.
expected to do, Raymond, is increase tariffs.
That is what the suspicion is. About 60% of the minority is trying to say in this case. But because you expect a private sector participation to do this job without having to do the, what they call it, let's put government's interest, let's put the people's interest in there. You know, recently we have some around 30% for those in the industry and somehow lower than that for those of us who do the home consumptions and the other local consumptions. In that particular case, there was some reprieve for people. I'm sure Ghanaians will not be so excited with any increment at all, mindful of the state of affairs prior to that time. But ahead of this, the ECG was supposed to do some reforms. Divide the workers into two. I mean, a smaller number will remain with the ECG that will supervise the work of the Meralco.
Yes.
And the larger chunk will go with the Meralco. My understanding that some of these things have happened already with some positions and recreation of positions within the ECG, causing some disaffection for some people who felt that, for example, if I was in charge of a unit, then there's a new created unit ahead of my unit, which is virtually for people that I thought were either below me or at my level. But this is purely still old ECG, which will be taking care of or supervising the work of the new ECG, or actually the one that will be taking care of Meralco in this case. We hope that doesn't cause more trouble for the institution.
Okay. Raymond, we hope it doesn't, but let's talk about NAGRAT, which may be causing trouble for GAT.
Yes, NAGRAT is worried about a decision by the government to permit the use of private funds into funding some of the country's struggling local banks through a specially created entity. You know now the wonderful word, the Special Purpose Vehicle, which is called the Ghana Amalgamated Trust in this case. Now, NAGRAT told us yesterday, as in the President, Angel Eric Kabonu, was clear in his mind that, so far as you are aware, no detailed conversation has been had with them.
That was the day before yesterday.
Very good. And they are very apprehensive, those are his words, about the new scheme and government wants to introduce. Indeed, they have seen how pension funds in some of the old banks are struggling. So they did not see any reprieve at all for them. They did not see any excitement in this pursuit. And that if government doesn't want them to come out and boldly be attacking some of these things, it should engage them. It should give them good reasons why this will inure to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian or the people whose funds are going to put in this particular rate. And again, they sent a warning to their fund managers that they can be changed. Fund managers are not people who are beyond change in any way. So if they take decisions for and on behalf of workers, they should be reminded by those decisions. And all of these are because they say not much engagement has gone on. And if they get to know the details, they'll come up with a final stance on the matter. And of course, we know that some of these banks, 5 of them, including the NIB, the ADB, and the others who were supposed to have not met
UMB, Prudential Bank, and Omnibank and Sahel Sahara combination,
who could not meet the minimum capital requirements, are the ones who are going to get the extra money. There is still an unanswered question about, I mean, the GAT part, I'll deal with it. Why 2 billion?
Because, what is the breakdown?
Yes, because if you divide 2 billion by 5, it is 400 million. But we knew that these banks were at different levels of capitalization, as
told us by Mrs. Elsie Adoawaji.
Brilliant. So they should give us more explanation so that we put all of these doubts in mind. In fact, there's one point that you should know about that too. Isaac Dadonko, who is a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, says they were able to sneak in and find out those behind the Ghana Amalgamated Trust. His allegation is that it's a National Trust Holding Company.
NTHT.
Yes, that is behind that. And National Trust Holding Company has SNIT first, SIC, and also NIB, being the ones who are predominantly behind this particular institution. And of course, these are government and state institutions.
We are in the process of verifying this. I visited the Registrar General's department yesterday to try and place that search request, and they are telling me to take some 2 weeks, but we'll see if we can get our sources.
In the collective interest of the state.
In the collective interest of the state.
Yeah.
Please expedite it for the good people of Ghana. Anyway, I'm coming back to you. Let's talk about the NDC, which is fighting the Legon report.
Yeah, so you remember that, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and we talked about the Legon report, which said that the survey had shown shown that President Akufo-Addo was in a position to defeat former President John Dramani Mahama. Well, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC has been speaking, and he says that the credibility of the results are not credible because those who work at the political science department of the University of Ghana who did this are NPP conduits, and therefore they got NPP people to do the research, the filling of the forms.
Who specifically is making this claim?
I've actually heard Isaac Adongo speak to this.
No, but this was actually Mr. Peter Boama Otokuno.
Oh, Vandabola.
Yes, he spoke to it. So then, obviously, those who did the survey, the University of Ghana, have said that the political parties should pay attention to these surveys because they predicted in 2016 that the NPP will beat the NDC by a very large margin, and obviously the NDC didn't take it seriously, and therefore they lost. The NDC and the MP are saying that they will not base their campaigning on people's surveys, but they will campaign based on what people need. Other interesting things that came up in the survey was that the double track system under the free SHS policy education is the most disliked policy amongst the electorate, followed by the fight against Galamsey. And the report also revealed that voters were indifferent to the drone project, apart from those who are worried about taking pictures of people bathing. And then they're most disappointed by government's efforts to create jobs.
Okay. Raymond, we've discovered our biggest oil field first.
Yes, that's the allegation according to the Gold Street Business. But
allegation.
Yes, allegation.
Really, Raymond?
Yes. Okay, so we know that this Norwegian oil exploration company, Aker Energy, had announced the discovery of what appears to be the biggest oil find. I'll give you some more details. Maybe that would convince you that, to be fair, it might be or might not be.
Okay, answer this. Where is it?
Okay, so this is in the same enclave as the oil-rich Deepwater Tunnel area. We know that that's the same place that the Jubilee is, 10 is, and Sankofa, Jinyame, that's where they are.
Okay.
But if you compare it to the Jubilee oil and the other ones that are there, it is the biggest in this case.
Okay, how much does it hold?
We're talking about 550
million barrels.
Yes, please.
Interesting. We'll bring you more details later on in that show. Now, we are going to go online. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest, GOIL. Good energy. Now, it's a new year and it's still good energy with GOIL, your reliable energy partner. Enhancing your engine performance and prolonging life expectancy of your vehicle should be a top priority. So continue to get the best quality and value for money for GOIL Super XP and Diesel XP and trusted range of lubricants from our 360 service stations across the country. So all our valued customers, we say thank you. We value our partnership with you. Because of you, we are still #1 and still CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Let's continue the partnership to build our economy. GOIL, good energy. GOIL, proudly Ghanaian. GOIL, Yenara Yedia. Pay and apply for your Ghanaian passports the easy way with the Zenith Bank card. Simply log on to mfa.gov.gh, select passports, follow the prompts and pay with your Zenith Visa or MasterCard. Payments reflect real time. Now that's what we call service. Pay your passport application fee the easy way with your Zenith Bank card today. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Now, one is working towards paying customers. That's the Men's Gold spokesperson speaking there. We'll be hearing Niama Matefio later on the show. MP supports call for removal of Ashanti Regional Police Commander, and this MP is the minority spokesperson. Okay. So this MP is the minority chief whip, who is the Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. Yes, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. The BBC.com says the suitcase full of cash has a story on the suitcase full of cash stolen from Mugabe. Interesting story there on the BBC.com. Speaking of which, we're going to take these important messages, then we go for the BBC News at 7. Stay with us. This is the Super Morning Show.
This was Kwame's life before Interplast In Green Irrigation System.